Hello and welcome, Desert Mountain members, to another edition of the Desert Mountain Podcast. My name is Michael Craven, joined today by Kim Atkinson. Hello, Kim.
Hello, Michael.
Really a special podcast today. As people who are joining us on YouTube can see, we do have a very special guest joining us through Microsoft Teams. And would you like to introduce this guest,
Yes,
Kim?
I would. Please welcome, a warm Desert Mountain welcome to Mr. Dennis Burns, who is our Executive Director of the Club Leaders Forum in celebration of Platinum Club Week here at Desert Mountain. Yes.
Welcome, Mr. Burns.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to say congratulations to Desert Mountain, members and staff and the leadership there for achieving platinum status, which is, one of the highest recognized acknowledgments in our industry. So well done to Damon and his team. I applaud you and your club.
Thank you very much. This is very exciting for us. We have followed the Platinum Club process, and I don't want to call myself a newcomer to the club business, with Mr. Diorio having, served in various roles as a club leader for years and years. He's been around the Platinum Clubs. Myself, it's been just over 5 years. And so following our progress and watching all of the wonderful clubs within the Platinum Clubs of America has been just really exciting. So thank you for the accolades and thank you for the support. And we're excited to learn more about the process. This is kind of our first time really coming out to our membership and giving them a deeper look at what the Platinum Club is all about. So with our top 10 status this year, this is really exciting.
First, we'd just like to get to know a little bit more about you. So if you could just give us a little bit of your background and how you joined the Club Leaders Forum.
Absolutely. I spent most of my career, about 25 years, in the public high-end athletic clubs. And about the last 6 years, and then the following 6 years of country club management. And the owner of Club Leaders Forum was John Sybil. Now, John was, he had a placement company back in the day where he'd place general managers at private clubs around the country, and he would go to, clubs and they'd say, club in Toledo would be, oh, we're the best club in Ohio, and go to a club in Canton and they'd say, we're the best club in Ohio. So he developed the Platinum Clubs to get the people in the know, the general managers, club presidents, and owners to vote on, who is the best club in Ohio or in America. So John got older in age and wanted to step away from Platinum Clubs, and that's when I was brought in about 10 years ago. And we started, we continued Platinum Clubs of America, and then we started Platinum Clubs of the World about 10 years ago as well.
That's right. And there was actually some recent publicity that came out in Forbes magazine. I saw that you were quoted in that article. So getting some exposure within Forbes is a big deal for the Platinum Club. So maybe give us a little bit of your relationship, or the relationship between the Platinum Clubs of America and Club Leaders Forum. It's kind of two separate entities, but they're very well tied.
Yeah, absolutely. The Club Leaders Forum is kind of the mother to Platinum Clubs of America and Platinum Clubs of the World.
Okay.
Club Leaders Forum serves the whole industry. So we have a forum publication that we do for the industry. We do some other consulting and support for all clubs in the industry. And then we have the Platinum Organization, the World and America, where we focus on the best of the best. So that's how it's structured, and like I say, it's been, I didn't say, but Platinum Clubs of America has been around for 25 years, and Clubs of the World.
Very good, very good. All right. Well, so there is a criteria for this. In terms of the category. So the 7 criteria, maybe we should go over for members who are curious about this process. We could just kind of go through one at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first one is universal recognition. And, that can be brought about by having a big golf tournament or just by the nature of tradition being around for years. Second one is excellence in amenities and facilities, which is pretty self-explanatory. And that's why we ask that platinum clubs don't overtly solicit votes, but communicate what they're doing. Hey, we just added a new wellness center, or we added this programming, and that really can help increase the knowledge that the voters have when they go to put their votes down. And then we have caliber of professionals, of staff and professional service levels. Obviously, it all starts there. In my management background, my philosophy was take care of my staff will take care of the members. And so I think that's, in my opinion, one of the most important of the 7. Like I said, engagement and commitment of membership, governance and prudent fiscal management, adapting to changing times. And in our industry, that's for some clubs, that's been a challenge. How do you keep tradition, but also adapt, to a different, millennials and a different mindset of your members that are coming in. And then lastly is probably the most important for the members is the overall experience. Right. How do they feel at your club? Do they feel at home? Do they get called by name? So that's the 7 selection criteria. It's pretty much the same for the world, just slightly modified for the world clubs than America.
And so in looking at the 7, one of the ones adapting to changing times, I think really resonates with us at Desert Mountain.
I was thinking, as you said, all 7 of them, I think a lot of them resonate. We are a little bit biased here, but yes, they all
biased.
But yes.
And should be so, yeah.
And so having the 7, and then when you went through the adapting to changing times category, do you have examples that you could draw upon, maybe that you've seen from some other submissions that is consistent with what we've experienced here at Desert Mountain? Certainly the private club lifestyle is in high demand across the country, if not the world, and there's a lot of change that has occurred as a result of that. So have there been some best practices that you've seen in some of those submissions that you could share with us?
Yeah, the biggest one that comes to mind, and I think your club does it very well, is we've migrated from fitness centers to wellness centers. And so it's incorporating wellness on a multifaceted approach, as opposed to just some gym equipment and a treadmill. And some, private trainers. So nutrition, there's a myriad of new, technologies that have come in to kind of manage your wellness, instead of just providing an area for you to come and work out.
That is very true, especially coming out of COVID and being very versed on health and fitness and wellness as a whole. I know that our director of the Sonoran Clubhouse is very much focused on that.
We've even added, I think we continue to add additional programming and additional staff to kind of follow along to what you were saying. So maybe we're almost getting ready for the next submission.
The next submission already. That's right. We are always getting ready for that. Okay, well, that's wonderful feedback. All right, so you touched on this a little bit earlier. Who votes on the Platinum Clubs of America? What does that process look like? And then what are those steps?
So we hire a third-party election company, and they conduct the election. So we as Club Leaders Forum, we don't get to vote. That is voted on. The election company sends out over 4,000 ballots, and they're confidential ballots, and they give probably about 3 weeks to a month to go through and vote for clubs that they're familiar with and vote, where they should be ranked. That then attributes a certain amount of points. So say if they think, hey, I think this is a 1 to 3 club, then that would be 100 points. And then at the end, the points are added up, divided by the number of voters, and that gives an average point gathering, and that will determine what the rank is. So the rank is then determined by points.
Makes sense. And among those voters, who is captured within that 4,000?
Yeah, good question. It's general managers, private club general managers,
Okay.
and private club presidents or owners. Some clubs are owned, some clubs have a board. So it's board presidents, GMs, and owners.
Wonderful.
Got it.
The who's who.
Absolutely. And how often? Is it every 2 years that you do the vote?
Yeah, every 2 years. So it's voted on the even years, and kind of like the presidential election, it's voted on in 1 year and then it commences the following year. So for example, this year, the election was in 2022, but the term is 2 years. So it's 23-24.
That's right.
That's right.
Hence us waiting until January to really make a big deal about this. So we're excited. And there's a lot to celebrate here. So some of the other clubs, I mean, there's plenty in the top 10. I think we're going to see a little glimpse of who they are. And
A foreshadowing
we're
for
just,
Friday Jam, perhaps.
we're in such great company. But this is the first time we've actually appeared in the top 10. And I think probably one of the largest jumps within the list. Coming from 14, I think, from a couple of years ago, and then 20 maybe from the term prior to that. So a lot for us to celebrate there too.
Oh, absolutely. And that's not typical. People, move a couple spots normally. For your club to move that amount in such a relatively short period of time says a lot about what you're doing there. What programming you're doing, communications. Damon is very active. So, that's important, because if the voters don't know what's going on, then how are they going to vote? So that's a critical aspect of being elected is, hey, showcasing what it is, that makes you special, and what it is that you're doing that is, trend setting.
You mentioned, Damon Diorio, our fearless leader, and he's always had extremely high aspirations to be the finest, club, one of the finest clubs in North America, the finest club in North America. So for us, this is a big deal to be in the top 10, and to make that big of a jump. What does it take to be that number one club, that number one platinum club?
Well, I think that I've touched on a few. Universal recognition is obviously, if the voters don't know who you are, what you're doing, why you're cutting edge, why you're they don't know that you've added on an addition to your wellness center, or added a pool, or whatever the case may be. It takes participation by the general manager and the club president to talk about their club, to attend CMAA events and talk to other managers about, hey, this is what we're doing here. And then when it comes time to vote, that sticks in the voters' minds as, oh yeah, Damon and his group are really cutting edge over there, and it helps with the being elected. Now, I must say, if you look at and that's why we put the points. If you look at the points, I mean, those top 10 are really grouped close. Just a couple points that separate, a number 10 club from a number 2 club. So just being in that company, I think, is a huge success, and one that, you should all be proud of. Absolutely.
We were very excited when we found out. That was quite a jump we made, and I'm glad we're getting to share it now.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is very true. Well, I think we've had a lovely chat today. We've learned a little bit more about this process. And I always say this too, Michael, to answer your question when it comes to, the recognition is one thing, but it's another to actually be those things. And so the club is really tasked with always striving to be better and and improving where we can. And so the leadership team is always focused on that every single week. And then the recognition comes with that as a byproduct, really.
Yes.
So we're keenly focused on that, and on the awareness side too, Mr. Burns. No pressure on the marketing communications department, because we tend to like to get the word out here and there about some things too. So that's fantastic. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. You have to tell us now. I know you can't pick favorites on the top 10 list, but what's your favorite private club podcast that you've ever been on?
Including this one?
Oh, yeah, you did it. Good. Very good.
Absolutely. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I feel honored that you asked me to be a part of it, because you have a wonderful club and a wonderful leadership team, and so I'm appreciative on my end.
Well, thank you, Mr. Burns, and we've learned a lot during this process as well, just putting our submission together, and working with Mr. Smith as well. So a lot of great feedback, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm planning a trip to get over there and see your club and Desert Highlands as well, with Desi over there. So I'd love to stop by and see, you got some wonderful clubs in your area. So I know it's a competitive area, and you guys have done very well for yourselves.
We love our club peers. We need each other very much so. So it's a wonderful, we call it kind of the Pima corridor, because the road that so many clubs kind of are attached to is Pima Road. So just depends on where you turn off, and then you'll end up at a beautiful private club. True. So if you keep going, you'll end up at Desert Mountain.
That's right.
All right.
I commit to coming and seeing you sometime soon.
Very good. We'll love to see you.
Look forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and all my best to you, your staff, and your members.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burns, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.